the mind, the body, and the soul. So you're picking one session in each place.
A beautiful woman is a beautiful woman, but a beautiful woman with a brain is an absolutely lethal combination.
You know, I was often told in a lot of different social situations that I was too poor to go to college. And when I was in elementary school, I distinctly remember instances where when I was in my classroom, there were always a group of students that would leave the classroom for a couple of hours each day, and they'd come back to the class and they were really excited. And they were really pumped up about school. And I didn't know why those students were leaving the classroom. And so I started to ask questions when I was, a little bit more advanced in elementary school about what those students were doing when they left, because they seemed like, they were, they had developed friendships, they were really excited, and the teacher had told me, well, they're in the gifted program, right? And I'm sure all of you know what this program is. So they were in the gifted program because they had been identified early as students who were gifted. And so I asked the teacher, could I be a part of that? Because it seems really fun. And the teacher was like, well, you need to take a test. And you have to test into this. And, it's given on a Saturday morning. But if you wanted to, take it, you're certainly welcome to do that. So I went, it was a Saturday morning, sorry. So I went early on a Saturday morning, and I took the test. And I was told that I didn't pass it. So I wasn't gifted. And I didn't take that answer the first time, and I asked, could I be retested? When you see someone who's very successful, sometimes in the way that we perceive that is that, that person, it's been easy for that person, right? This person has this natural ability to just do well in school or in leadership positions or whatever, endeavors that they pursue. But the reality is no one is naturally smart. And as a sociologist, I study this. No one is naturally smart, but rather you're socialized in particular ways that help you develop a certain skill set, that help you engage with individuals and interact with individuals. And I had learned that in my home environment in terms of how to transport that into schools. I had to learn that from educators, from teachers, from principals, from all of the educators that went above and beyond and took time to invest in me in that way.
But just think about things like this, like a nurse's uniform. Any kind of uniform, anything anybody has on site as a designer. As a matter of fact, out of school, that was my first job. I tried so hard not to get that job too. Because back then, nurses' uniforms were not like how you see now, they got little cute Hello Kitty scrubs and stuff. Back then, nurses only wore white, and they had to wear dresses. So I know, look at that. That's how my face went too when they said, this interview gotta go. I'm like, what? And I'm telling you, I tried so hard not to get that job, and we didn't know they hired me. And I thought, oh, geez, I'm just going to be working with this all white fabric and dresses. It didn't seem very creative to me. Hated it, but as time went on, I got better design jobs, but that was just the first one. So keep it in mind, if you're going to go into fashion, your first job may not be the one that you love the most, but you can learn something from that.
Studies show that people who work in healthcare and people who work with people's health, whether you're a social worker or a doctor or a nurse or someone who's figuring out the instances of diseases across the globe or a community, they need to know about their own healthcare, and that makes them better. I'm just telling you guys now, take care of yourselves. Good grades, sleep, exercise, food, that's kind of my thing that I said. A good education, which is different from good grades, right guys?
To lose confidence in one's body is to lose confidence in oneself.
I was still a little hamburger. The other hamburger was for adults. This one is for adolescents. This much protein. That's all the protein you're supposed to have. That's it right there. The government tells you this is it. Is this the size hamburger you eat when you eat? Then are you contributing to the obesity rate? The only way you can really control everything is to make it at home. But sticking with a lot of nuts, what there's pecans, almonds, cashews, there's all kinds of nuts, good. But then the problem if you're like a lot of nuts, and you're eating the nuts for protein, because you don't want to eat anything that was once alive, so it's complete protein, is they typically have a lot of salt, and you don't want, especially at your age, you don't want to eat so much sodium, because then you start getting dehydrated.
I knew I hated my life, and I knew I hated my body. And I knew I was depressed because I was fat, and I was fat because I was depressed. So I knew that much. And I think that's all I needed at the time. So then, when he asked me why I was fat, I was like, wait, so it's a choice? Oh, it snaps. So it was almost like this, like he woke me up in a sense. But most importantly, I was already trying to work on my emotional health, my spiritual health. I knew the relationship I was in was not healthy for me. I knew my diet was no good. I knew that I was going crazy. I was like I wasn't in a good place. And it wasn't until I was able to work on my emotional and spiritual and mental health that I was finally able to focus on my physical health.
True beauty in a woman is reflected in her soul.
If there's anything I can leave you with today, it's this. Be brave. People talk a lot about bravery, and bravery isn't all about huge heroic gestures. It isn't the things that you get medals or awards for. It usually isn't even the moments that other people recognize or applaud. True bravery comes in quiet moments when you are by yourself, when you look in the mirror and you decide to see more things right than wrong. When in moments where it's easy to be cruel, you find and express kindness, first for yourself. For finding kindness, forgiveness, and patience for ourselves and our bodies and our hearts is where we find strength to give the same to others. If we can love ourselves, we give our friends, our mothers, and other women the permission to do the same.
I wasn't born with a spoon in my mouth. There's nothing I can go home to. Everyone here in this room wants to know what you do, what you can do for them. Yeah, these big city lights don't make me feel new. I don't want to make it, just make it to you. If you want, I'll spend all of my nights singing this song to you. When everything's falling apart, falling for you. When everything's falling apart, falling for you. I wouldn't say that I'm gonna be the easiest one that you've loved. I have been known to tear down the walls just to see if I can, and then build them back up. And I'll stay out too late, I'll come home to a truck, I fight when I'm bored, I tell you I'm done, but you stay with me, and you lay with me, head in your hand, say that I am enough. When everything's falling apart, falling for you. When everything's falling apart, I'm falling for you. Tell me all that you want, 'cause I wanna give it to you. And maybe you're all that I got, and no one can do what we do, and I will be waiting for you. Everything's falling apart, I'm falling for you. Oh, when everything's falling apart, I'm falling for you.
Thank you guys so much.